Microphone checker. Oh, yeah. Shouts to everybody who checked out last week's episode with the one and only, the legendary Uncle Ralph McDaniels. Man, let me tell you something. So many years in this game of hip-hop. A believer, okay? Somebody who was like, nah, man, this is not just a fad. And believed in it when it was early on. Directing so many different videos for your favorite artists, man. Come on, man. Make sure you put Uncle Ralph McDaniels' episode of the Premium P Show on your to-do list. And let me tell you something, okay? Whenever I tell you to open up your Twitter app, open up your Instagram app, and check the fuck in. Let me know what you listen to. Let me know what you're listening to. I love when internet's worldwide. Let me know who they're listening to, where they're listening from. You know, listen, blessings to you, blessings to your family, blessings to your kids, blessings to everybody. Listen, don't only think this is just, I mean, look, you are listening to a podcast, but it's more than a podcast. Premium Pete Show, Premium Pete is for the people. For the people, man. I'm not, listen, I big up, do a bunch of work with so many different podcasts. Okay, I'm not one of those big people trying to be like, oh, there's a podcast, you got to listen to this, fuck everybody else. Nah, man, the space is beautiful. I've been here when it was cute, when people were like, oh, you doing a podcast? Rest in peace, my brother Combat Jack, forever. Okay? And now to see the space thriving so much, it makes me proud. To still be around, podcasting, producing, creating, makes me proud. So if you're doing a podcast, stop looking at the next person's podcast and what numbers they're doing. Just do it and be loyal to the people who are listening to you. But most of all, enjoy what you're doing. And try and be a little different, too, because there is a lot of the same shit in there. But never change who you are. You understand? Internet's on my Instagram, at Premium Pete. I recently put up something. You know when I get into my Pastor Pete mode? And I put up, love your parents. We are so busy growing up, we often forget they are also growing old. That's just a reminder, Internet. Hold on, let me tell you again. Love your parents. We are so busy growing up, we often forget they are also growing old. Internet, let me tell you something. If your parents are with you, call them up. Show them some love. You know, stop by. Have dinner with them, lunch with them. They are not here no more. Rest in peace and prayers. They are not your angels watching over you. You know, it's important as a parent. It's important to understand, you know, our parents. And everything may not be perfect. And I'm sure there's relationships that people have very stale relationships with their parents. But, you know, if you do have a relationship with them, or account, you know, if there's one that's damaged that can be salvaged, I would take the opportunity to do that. Family is everything, man. You know, and it's important to appreciate the memories we have. You never know when, you know, God is going to call you. So, you know, and appreciate the times. You know, it's good to, you know, be fresh and you know, stay dipped and look good and really enjoy your vices. But family, you know, spend that time, man. That's why presence over presence was created. Because people will never remember all the gifts you bought them, but they will remember the times and moments that you created together. Before we get into this week's episode, man, I want to tell you, okay? We're on YouTube. Subscribe, rate, tell a friend to tell a friend. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify, okay? We're on Google Play. What I want you to do is go to iTunes, okay? If you fuck with iTunes, go there. People always tell me, yo, Premium Pete, what could I do for you? I appreciate you. Go to iTunes, rate, leave a comment. Blow that rating up. Get that shit up there, okay? Leave a comment. I'm not asking you to, you know, do something that you don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to do it, don't do it. It's okay. I love you. But if you want to support, do that, man. Spread the word. I always say, if there's a certain episode that you fucked with or that you could think is good for somebody else, send it to them. That's all. Send it to them. On this week's episode, okay, 3-time returning guest, my brother, Joseph Sikora. You might know him as Tommy Egan on the hit TV show series Power, okay, with 50 and Ghost and Proctor and so many different people, okay? But we didn't come back to only talk about power. I mean, we talk about power, talk about entrepreneurship, acting advice, life, therapy, and so much more. 3-time returning guest, my friend, the great Joseph Sikora, on this week's episode of the Premium Pete Show. Internets, love your family, love yourself, okay? Spend a couple of minutes each day alone in silence, okay? And I want to say this. If you made a lot of choices in your life that fucked up and you could change your life around, I promise you, okay? Just put in the work. have the patience, and when it gets uncomfortable, don't stop. I'm living proof. Internets, I present to you the return of Joseph Sikora, episode of the Premium Pete Show. Let's get to it. CHEA. Tommy Egan.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is Fat Man Scoop, the undisputed voice of the club, the two-time Grammy Award winner. Let me make this official for you. Fat Man Scoop, Corkman Clan, Internets. It's time to go with my dude, Premium Pete. Let's get focused. Let's go. Internets. Let's turn up. One time. Premium Pete.
Come on, everybody get set. Let's go. It's the next episode. It's the Premium Pete Show. News, interviews, all of the info. Listen up. It's the Premium Pete Show. If you want the scoop in the low, down low, listen to the show, cause Milk said so. Fuck what you heard, better act like you know. It's the Premium Pete Show.
Internets, welcome back to another episode of the Premium Pete Show. Sitting down here with a third-time returning guest. Is that that's right? Third-time returning guest. It's not only a guest, he's a friend of mine, friend of ours. Okay, it's a big difference.
That's status.
It's a big difference. Okay, some people may call him Tommy Egan, right? Some people may call him Joseph Sikora. Some people may call him a Chicago native, entrepreneur, actor.
It's true.
There's a couple other things. Grapher.
Yeah.
There's so much. Anyway, Internets, my man, Joseph Sikora, back in the building.
Good to be here, Premium Pete.
Oh, man, listen. First of all, I'm so excited for people who visit or are living in the tri-state area. You have a new partnership, and with Mama Tried, a bar.
Yeah, I'm a small owner, but I am a part owner, and it's a great little bar, man, in a neighborhood that is starting to change with Industry City being so big over there. Anyway, the name of the bar is Mama Tried, and it is at 787 3rd Avenue in, what do we call it, Pete? Sunset Park?
Yeah, it was Sunset Park. Yeah.
Sunset Park,
do not get it different, okay? Because you live from Chicago, you start throwing around names that are wrong. People are not going to like it.
Been here 20 years, man.
All right,
I'm
sorry.
What am I supposed to do?
All right.
I blame the internet, blame Instagram for putting that on Greenwood Heights. I'm tagging Greenwood Heights.
At least it wasn't Greenwood Cemetery.
Well, I put Greenwood Cemetery originally. That's where you're gonna end up.
What made you want to get into even being an owner in a bar?
Well, I think like anything, when you go into entrepreneurial ventures, it's important to say, like in acting too, here's a good parallel, is that you should know your audience. And I think that the audience or the clientele of the bar in that area of South Brooklyn, there's a lot of Industry City, of course. There's a lot of fix-it places, a little car auto stops, and a lot of food trucks, but I felt like this bar it's a nice meeting place. You're done with work, you want to grab a beer. The neighborhood, the north section of Sunset Park, right there by the cemetery. It was kind of lacking of a place like this. I know a lot of people from the entertainment industry, and I mean crew people. People that are grips and electric all live around this neighborhood, and I knew that the demand was out there, so I thought it would be a wise investment.
What's that guy you always put on your Instagram story, the Italian guy, crew guy?
Joe Pulio.
Joe Pulio, yeah. Shouts to Joe Pulio.
Yeah, Joey P, man, that's my guy.
Now, do they come pick you up like when you have to, go to the job and check in?
Yeah, they do on this job. That wasn't always the case, but on
just
Power.
show the fuck up.
Yeah, it's like get yourself there.
So on Power, when you say like they pick you up, you can't just call they can't call you an Uber. They have like regular it's a
They have regular Teamsters. I mean, they I think in a desperate way, if like there's something fell apart, they could probably call an Uber, have you go take an Uber or whatever. But there's unions, and the unions have pretty strict rules. It's like you're not gonna, like on set, you're not gonna have somebody who's not in the electric department moving lights around, and just like you're not gonna have somebody driving any equipment around or talent around if they're not a Teamster.
So do they pick up other people or just pick up you?
They pick up other people. The four leads of the show got these kind of cool SUVs for the last 2 seasons, which has been fantastic.
It's like an assessor ride. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, it's fantastic. It really is. I mean,
I everybody's house and picking them up.
Exactly.
Get to work.
That would be not uncommon over by me. The accessorides.
Yeah, listen, it's when you think about it, even when you think about like just in general, the craft services is something I always find fond of. Like meaning Sopranos. When I had Furio on, Federico Castelluccio, okay, and he was telling me how the craft service was incredible. They had,
Sopranos was a special thing into itself, though. I keep hearing stories about Sopranos craft services and the James Gandolfini getting like 12 food trucks and great gifts and incredible food and homemade food and people. So it's legendary at this point.
Yeah. You think about stuff like that, it's like it really just makes people. I'll never forget when we did the Combat Jack show on Complex. We were a video. It was the first video series they ever did. And we had a tremendous production. It was almost like, I don't want to say it was a film, but it was very fucking close to it. I swear to God. That when you see those buckets out, those buckets with all the square, buckets where they keep cameras and wires in there.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
Like, I don't know what they're called. But
neither. I don't know, bins.
Yeah, but there we go. But when you see that, they're official. But we had, I remember they had mozzarella and tomato there for the kid. Beefsteak tomatoes, too. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Nice thick.
Listen, we went over so many things with Joseph Sikora. When we had you on the first time, the second time we went over the journey, where you grew up, Chicago, and we still are debating Chicago.
Well, this Chicago pizza, which has taken on a totally different. The debate is not so much now where we're at now. It's not so much who's better, who's not, who. That's all. My dad would always say, "De gustibus non disputanum est."
What the fuck
You
does that
cannot
mean?
argue things of beauty. So pizza is just beautiful. So that's as high and as low as what we get with that. So I think that the lesson that we've learned on our pizza discussions is the different kind of the ins and outs of maybe where the pizza came from. Chicago pizza really was so much more like New York pizza until the 1940s, until the war. And so after the war, after the soldiers kind of came home in the mid and late 40s from overseas, specifically from Europe, they would eat and drink more in the pubs, right? So because Chicago's pub and bar culture was very inclusive, very neighborhood, not dissimilar to New York's. Sure. But unlike New York, they would have these smaller ovens. Even the big pizzerias would have, very old ovens as well. But a lot of these pubs would have great pizza ovens, and they would always cut it up in squares so it could be eaten family style or pub style, whatever, and they would just put that on the bar, and that would be the free meal that came with the whiskey and beer, and so that's why they cut it up into squares, so there'd be more pizza for more people to have a slice here and have a little bit there. That's another of the different things. Now, whatever you want to put on top of it, whatever floats your boat.
Mushrooms, pepperoni.
Whatever, yeah.
I'm not doing the anchovies, but a lot of people like it.
I like anchovies. I love salt.
Listen, to each is their own. Tomato. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When we talk about acting, right, in particular, when you have a script, right, and the reason why I say this for is because hearing Furio, Federico from Sopranos,
who's excellent on that show,
tremendous, and he was talking about how Janice, the girl who played Janice, I'm not sure of her familiar name, but the girl who played Janice was telling him, when you go for the role, when you audition for the role, do not change any line, because David Chase did not like that at all. But apparently, Federico, when he went and he started reading it, he added some Italian at the end, like "butana," and they were like, okay. And then he just grabbed his stuff. He's like, oh my God, what? He said he got so caught up, and they says, excuse me, what is that you just said? And he explained it, and they said, okay. And literally, when he went back to read again, that line was in there. So the point I'm making to you is when with power, I mean, you've been on so many different shows and stuff.
Yeah, 36 shows. Over
36.
Yeah, over 36 TV shows. Yeah.
Have you ever changed a line in the script and they bitched to you, or? Yeah.
I think it was a slow burn on Power. I think that too many actors improv, quite honestly, that improv is only beneficial to the scene if, like Federico did, it made the scene better. It was in the moment. It wasn't just talking to add to be heard. Like, I want to be heard other than writers. The writers are probably better than you. And I'm not saying that I've ever been better than the writers, but after a long enough amount of time, and I certainly would never say that, but after a long enough time living in the character, I think that there certainly have been lines that I have asked to change, or that I've changed, or that in improv has stayed in, because that's what the guy would do. A good example of that would have been last season when, or maybe even, was it 2 seasons ago when Tasha just found out about Tommy and Lakeisha? That was last season early, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm drinking the orange juice. And she's like, Tommy, she said this, and Tommy, and I just keep drinking the orange juice and not answering her. Like, that was improv. There were lines in that, but it was funnier. And they're like, that's good. All right, we're going to keep that. Now, granted, the acid in my stomach from drinking 8 pints of orange juice was a mistake, but it's stuff like that. You know what I mean? It should be used with caution. Improv should be used with caution, and don't do it unless you're good at it or you are moved by the spirit, like Federico was.
Yeah. You know, I think we went over this, but when you audition for Power,
yeah,
right? And do you get? It's not only Power too. I'm talking about. Do you get nervous when you audition? You don't hear
so
back?
Nervous. I get nervous before the audition like crazy. I'm terrible at auditioning, which could be explain why I didn't book as much work in my life as maybe I could have. Part of it is having the confidence that I'm good. Like, I know my value as an actor.
Sure,
I know
absolutely.
that I can play a million different characters. I can do them super committed, and I finally have owned that. But for most of my life, it was just always second guessing myself. Oh God, I really probably should just be a fireman. I really should just do something with my hands. You know, like it'd be I don't know, a wonderful, admirable union job of being, a plumber or a contractor or something like that. But this was a passion. I always tell people, unless you have to do this, don't do it. Yeah. It hurts too much. Constant rejection. But I get nervous before the audition. I get nervous after the audition. And it wasn't until, and I don't think I've said this on the show yet, Pete, it wasn't until truly that I found something that I loved more than acting, and that was my wife, that I started to book more of the jobs, because you can feel when somebody needs something. Sure. Everybody can. And when it's an off-putting feeling from other people. Damn, they need this. Why aren't you hanging out with me, man? Come on. Yo, I called you like 10 times. Yo, I keep texting you. It's like, yo, don't need it so much. You're driving me nuts. So it's like when I got into the room and it was like, hey, here's my opportunity. I'm going to perform for you today. I hope you like it. If you don't, we could collaborate on it a little bit. Otherwise, you keep it. Do you?
I didn't even think about it like that when you talk about, I don't want to say, but like rejection, like, or not, like being good enough, and then maybe you just didn't get the part, right?
Sure,
like
absolutely.
how that must feel for certain people. Where
we want somebody with dark hair.
Yeah.
We want somebody Latin for the role now.
Yeah.
We want this and that, something without your control. But it's hard as a sensitive person, as an actor, 9 times out of 10 is quite a sensitive person, to not internalize that rejection.
Mm. You ever, and not saying that this, this is you, but it could lead to it. You ever and your wife go to therapy?
Yeah, at 4 p.m. I just went.
Really?
Yeah.
You being that serious?
Yes.
I think you may have told me this before.
You may have talked about this, because I remember talking to you about being in anger management therapy, which I was for years.
And that's better now.
That is better, yeah. And then it's actually transitioned into more of a kind of traditional Gestalt therapy, which is based in the problems of your life and going back and figuring out where that problem stemmed from. Like, was your dad incredibly controlling, which is why you always feel pinned in when somebody says, I demand that, I want you to do this. And you feel like, God, my whole world is going to collapse unless I please this person, because I want daddy to love me. I mean, it's a cliche in some ways, but if you can understand where the problem stemmed from, then when you start to be triggered by certain things that you don't have control over, you're reminded of what you do have control over. I can leave this situation. I'm not going to give that to you. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
That actually isn't beneficial for me. That's only beneficial for you. So I'm going to walk away. And it helps me deal with not caring as much about what other people think. Now, look, I still care about what people think about me. Sure. I wish I cared even less because I don't have control over what they think about me. They have control over what they think about me. But through therapy it's been very beneficial for me to have a sounding board.
Yeah. A lot of people don't talk about therapy enough. And I think and I remember a couple of people saying this over the years, even in hip hop. If we, if we big it up as much as we big up other stuff, You know, because it is important for someone to take care of themselves, right? And that's one thing I hate about, like, I love being a Brooklynite. I love being a New Yorker. And I told you some of this stuff off the air, but one thing I hate about, and this ain't only, this is other places in the world, but I'm speaking from how I grew up. We rather look good than be good. Right?
Well,
So
for
pe-
sure.
so pe- yeah.
I think that's a transcendent.
Yeah.
I think that every culture, regardless, can understand what you're talking about, and I think that almost everybody would rather look good than be good, and we're just raised that way.
Yeah. So when we hear, like, when we start bigging up, like, if we could big up therapy, like we big up a pair of Jordans, or big up, you know, or whatever, you know, like, you know, the reason
How
why
about eating healthy? We're starting to big up
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
more.
exactly.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
about healthy body, healthy
Bro,
mind.
Styles P. Okay, my brother Styles P.
Okay.
Okay, I love that guy. Tweets a bunch of times now. Think about how this would have rolled years ago. Water is the new soda, you know, or speaks about how important it is to eat. And he's not telling you to do exactly what he does, but he's saying even if you try to be healthy in some sense and know what you're putting in your body. And now think about it. We talk about entrepreneurial in the beginning. Weight Watchers. Fucking Weight Watchers has been around so long. My mother's been on Weight Watchers for fucking like 50 years. She lost 5 pounds, but she's still on Weight Watchers. So think about it. It's $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is people really try to, you know, change things, and that's the important thing. Try to understand that there's things wrong, and even like being a separated dad. Like, you know, I use Twitter to try to help, and, you know, podcast episodes, and when I meet people, but I know how hard it is for other men. You don't prepare to get divorced. Right? You know, you don't prepare to be a dad on the outside looking in all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So, and women too. Don't get me wrong. It's not easy for them, but I'm saying it's very tough. I get people hit me up all the time. Fathers like, yo, I'm trying to see my kids more. What can I do? Or I don't feel right. I'm not, you know. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, a lot of people need to go to therapy, man, because just to get your mind right, just to not be bottled up with, you know, all this anger and issues and problems. And I'm not saying forget certain issues, but you got to forgive.
You got to forgive, and it's the main person that we have to remember to forgive is ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that most therapists, that people don't realize that therapists are human as well. And
Sure.
I am now seeing the same therapist who actually got out of therapy to go into real estate and made a bunch of money and is back in therapy. So I'm seeing this guy again who's great. He's my original therapist. But he was fantastic because when I was first seeing him, I'm an unemployed actor. I didn't have any money. Like you know, it was like, I won't even tell you how much I pay now, but I paid $60 a session. You know, this is like 7 years ago, but $60 a session. And this guy's other clients, you know, easily paying $200. You know, so like, it's because I talked to him. I said, look, I need the help, and can we work something out?
Sure.
And he said, you know what? Yeah, because, you know, all they can say is no. You may have to ask a couple, 2, 3 times, but if you're gonna, you know, life is gonna tell you no 100 times to 1. So you gotta get in there.
You know, it's special, and I hope we continue to, you know, push therapy. And I'm glad that you're going and you're speaking very openly about it. Like, as a friend, honestly, I admire you that much more. And it's hard to say that because I admire you a lot. And even like, and this is the last time I'll bring up Federico. Shouts to Federico, but I got to introduce you to him. But think about his role as Furio, a fucking enforcer.
Yeah.
Think about Joseph Sikora as Tommy Egan,
An
an enforcer. Both two of the best guys I met. Big heart, nothing like their characters, just stand-up people. So it's amazing to me, right? When I think about that, I'm going to give you your props. I always do. But I'm going to give you your props. Tremendous talent to have that capability to sell that to people. You know, meaning the acting part, you know.
Yeah.
It's like turn it on, turn it off.
One of the things, like I said before about the anger management, was that this is all pre-power.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons it helped me define Tommy's anger is I could actually make it different than mine. Tommy's anger is rage.
Yeah.
And he's a rageful young man. And I think we're all a little rageful young, but this man is raged. I mean, this guy is influenced on just getting his ass kicked over and over and over again, and having to be really head on the swivel from the being a baby. And mine was believe it or not, similar-ish circumstances from being a graph writer and being kind of one of the fewer white kids out there doing it. and having to have my head on a swivel, but mine was always fear-based, and they are different. Fear-based can turn into rage, but Tommy's just angry for anger's sake. I mean, it's a flaw in his makeup. I mean, he's loyal. He's a beast. He's alive in this show because
He's a choker.
He's a choker. But he's alive on this show because he's always ready to die. And I was not always ready to die growing up, man. I was scared of the dudes with guns. I was like, look, proof, well, with Tommy, you pull out a gun, he's gonna think about it. It's not an over thing. So
it's great.
Therapy. Long story short, therapy helped me figure out this character as well.
Again, I'm proud to, and I hope when we put this out, I'm gonna put emphasis on that because it's good for people to hear that. I have gone. I'm actually in the works of going back. Just to talk, I have parenting anxiety, man. I think every day, did I do the best job I could do? Can I be doing better? It's hard being a separated dad and a regular dad. It's so weird. It feels like, I had to deal with jealousy from my daughter, and she's like 15 years older than my son. Mm-hmm. It's very weird. It's very tough. So I need to talk to someone, So anyway, I think it's important other people. We're not telling people what to do, but I'll be honest with you, it's special. It's
not a lack of masculinity if you go see a therapist.
Exactly. Or get a manicure or a pedicure.
Well, hey, man, any Italian I've ever met, or any gangster, look, everybody's got their nails done.
Yeah, but the only thing is I tell them, don't put the gloss on.
Yeah, no, you don't need the gloss.
I don't want the gloss because then it starts cracking, and I don't want to do that.
Just a nice buff.
Yeah, exactly. Who controlled all of the hip-hop artists that have come on Power over the years? You think about Kendrick, right?
Well, Fifth is got the connections, but also Mark Canton, one of our producers. Mark Canton, who actually, in some ways, I mean, Courtney A. Kemp, who created the show, gets that created credit because she deserves it.
Where's she from?
She's from Connecticut.
Okay, nice. Shouts to Connecticut. CT, stand up.
She probably learned a significant amount about this kind of culture through the show, and I think that speaks volumes to her intelligence and adaptability. Now, originally the show was a concept from Mark Canton, who wanted to make a TV version of Superfly. Mm. He brought this concept to 50. 50 said, how about make it more about my life? There'll be a white boy named Ghost, black guy, who knows what it'll be, maybe Curtis, something like this. And 50's like, no, we got to flip that on its head. Mm. The black guy's Ghost, the white boy is going to be this guy. The original name was Eddie O'Neill, actually. And then through them, they found Courtney, who is an accomplished writer on The Good Wife, right? And then she was just the right fit, and then they pitched it to Stars. Stars bought it. The rest is history.
Yeah, I can't picture it anywhere else. Stars has done a good job at that. We're going on 6 motherfucking seasons.
6 motherfucking seasons.
Coming up in, June, I think? Right?
I'm not they haven't announced it initially. Everybody, you see how down people get on me online. I'm just
when's it coming out, motherfucker?
Like, yeah, exactly. I'm not a producer on this. I show up and I know my lines. That's all I'm required to do. They don't tell me, and I have to say, since I always say a little too much on any Premium Pete show, I will say this. I think it's going to be later because I think they made the announcement already that there's going to be 15 episodes this season. I hope so. Otherwise, it's breaking news on the Premium Pete show.
There we go. CHEA.
But I think it's going to be later. I don't know when. My guess would probably be late July, maybe August.
Yeah. So many people, and I'm sure when you go around, I don't want to say, but do you feel like for Power that, I mean, you played the fuck out of this role, but that they kind of like pigeonhole into you, call you Tommy.
Yeah, but you know what? I have days. Look, I'm a human being. There's some days where I'm just like, look, I'm not having it. Sometimes people will call Tommy, and because it's not my real name, if I'm like talking to my parents and my buds or something like that, and somebody's like Tommy, and I'm just, and I'm not ignoring you. It's like it's actually not my real name. So I don't always go. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I'll be like, oh, they're calling Tommy. That's probably for me. I'll be like, hey, what's up? But every now and again, I don't. It's not because I'm ignoring you. It's just it's not actually my name, and I'm doing something else, and I didn't compute it that fast. And sometimes people have even hit me up online. I said this, and I was like, I don't remember that. I don't remember this person. I'm like, I would have said hi if you would have came up. Even if people are in my face, Tommy, I can't. I was walking here, a girl named Jules from Coney Island. said, she's like, how do I get into acting and all this? And I'm talking with her, and she's like, I know your real name's not Tommy, but I was like, it's okay. I don't, it's no big deal. Thanks for watching the show.
You know, your wife, and you have a special bond, and you always speak about how much you love her and how much she's helped further your career.
She's a great person.
How does she deal with all these girls who love you?
I don't think she actually thinks about it very much,
Goddamn, me and you talk about pizza, one fucking slice. I gotta have 40 fucking girls in my Twitter mentions. Oh, Tommy, I love it. Can't wait to buy. Oh, Tommy, Tommy. Motherfucking Joseph Sikora.
That's right.
You understand?
I don't think that I don't know. She doesn't think about it much. And the main thing for me that I have to realize is that when I first got on social media and stuff, I would answer so many people back, so many women, so many people in general, and then you get titillated by the affection of oftentimes what appear to be beautiful women. You don't necessarily know. It's like, and I'm not going and trolling everybody's page and seeing that stuff, but like you answer them back and I'm just like. And that was probably the first year that I was ever on social media that I was more interactive, and certainly in terms of Instagram, I had a far smaller following too. But there's certain things where it's like, look, I don't like when women feel like I'm ignoring them on social media, but also it's like, I appreciate you as a fan, but I don't owe you anything. I owe my wife
Sure, your time.
My time.
Yeah, but you do a
affection.
great job of interacting with them, and that's great, because I'll be honest with you, if you go back to, I think, this is the third episode. Go back to the second episode. We took a couple of phone calls, and this is how I knew how much people loved you. And you're a great guy, and you're a hell of an actor, so they should give you your props. But this one person called, I think it was a guy, and he's like, "Yo, what's up, Tommy?" And he's like, "Yo, what's your favorite color?" And I was like, yeah, motherfucker called this number up to ask about your favorite color. And the best thing was, if you know what's so funny at that time? Shouts to our producer Isaiah, my man Tigarachi. Our Google Voice number wasn't working. So something happened to it. So he gave his number, and then you
I remember that.
You tweeted out. This motherfucker was getting people call him like a week or two later, like, Tommy? Yeah. Tommy? Is this you?
Yeah.
I was like, yo, you should have said, come on over. Gonna give you some Egan.
Yeah.
Tommy motherfucking Egan.
Tommy motherfucking Egan, y'all.
So it could be breaking news, it could be not, but 15 episodes, right? Mm-hmm. And you think about, it's a lot of fucking episodes, and people are looking forward to it. So many people ask about, like, you think about Ghost. Actually, speaking about Ghost, Omari Hardwick and this Beyonce shit. This is the funniest thing in the world. You see how viral this thing went about the kiss?
You can't buy publicity like that.
Oh, my God.
More white people are going to watch Power now than ever any season. Once you're on Entertainment Tonight, forget it.
He kissed Beyonce. But if you think about it, too, it's funny how... Man, look, I don't ever get into any gossip, and shouts to Omari Hardwick. I don't think I ever met him, and I'll meet him soon.
He's a good guy.
I'll meet him soon. He's a good fella.
He's a great guy. He's a deep brother, that's for sure. You know what I mean? He's got a lot to say about a lot of things, and he's a fantastic actor. And I mean, I'm so blessed to have him as a scene partner in it. He's a magnificent actor, and we both trust each other, and that is what has made Power, that relationship, Tommy and Ghost. He always calls it the bromance, but it has transcended. I keep using this damn word, but it's like, yo, we have that best friend that we like love like family, like brothers. That like this is like, it's deeper, it's thicker than blood, Somehow this relationship between them, their whole lives are so intertwined. One of my favorite lines was one of Courtney's that said, we're two sides of the same coin, and an old expression, but so poignant for Power, and for Tommy and Ghost. They really are two sides of the same coin. They're two parts of the same man. Could one really survive without the other one? Yeah.
What about 50? Just like, you always spoken about how, much he believed in you, and I'm sure, like you said, trust. It's when you think about it, when someone says something like that, you think about, okay, that could be the recipe. You know what I mean? Meaning, like, that's what made you and him become so close. Not 50 meaning Ghost, but then even 50, the trust the openness, the brotherhood, the friends become family type of thing makes really what you're doing even better. You know what I mean?
It's true. If you can be, it's so infrequent that you get along with the people at work or whatever. But and you don't have to like somebody to create something pretty great with them. I mean, look at bands throughout history. So many bands have hated each other. But Omari and I do not hate each other. The exact opposite. I mean, we completely respect each other, and it's been great. And a shout out again to Lala Anthony, who is
my God,
she's been just wonderful as Lakeisha, and another joy to work with.
Had such tremendous talent.
Yeah.
You know, it's so amazing to see.
She only keeps getting better and better
yeah.
and better and better, and it's because she puts in the work. There's a good lesson for people. Once you start getting the work, don't just think that you can stop. It just started.
You know, I'm not an actor. I'm not an athlete. One thing I think people have misconstrued in life is that they have an easy job. Well, let me tell you something. They work their fucking ass off. You know, so Kobe shooting a fucking 4,000 shots before a game. An actor, you know, working on their craft. You don't just fucking, you know.
Here's something for you. My manager was just like, "Here, I want you. What do you think about auditioning for the public for the theater in the park and Coriolanus?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I haven't done Shakespeare in over a decade. You know, I'm a classically trained actor. I can do it. I would know what all the commas and full stops and semicolons and blah blah blah. I know what all that means, and I know how to make it sound as normal as possible." But I was scared out of my mind. And as soon as I noticed how friggin' scared I was, well, obviously it's not about the money. I'm not going to get paid out the waz for that thing. That's about the craft. And then why am I going to do something that I'm not going to make money on, and that you know, like, will take up a huge amount of time, and that I'm scared to do because I'm scared to do it. So because I was so terrified, I was like, yeah, let me audition. I didn't get the role, but I friggin' prepared, you know, my ass off for this thing and went through it, and kind of messed up the audition. The first 2 scenes, I had to go back to the page and kind of read them because I thought I was off book, but once the pressure got to me, I collapsed. But I did memorize this nice, big, huge monologue, and I screwed that up once. They're like, "Thank you, that's enough." And I said, "You know what? Let me do it again. I'm going to do it again." And I just did it, you know, for me. I did it for me.
Sure.
I still didn't get the role, but I think that that's the thing. The work can never stop. It can never stop. And those things that scare you, you got to try them. You got to go for it because it's the only thing that's going to make you better. It's like when you're holding a plank. You got to keep trying to hold it longer. You know, the exercise is, some of it's maintenance, and then the only thing that you get better or tone a muscle more or lose that weight is pushing the bar. You can't forget to push the bar.
Man, that's a gem. On that note, let's take a quick break. We're sitting here with my friend, my guy, a good fella. I already told you, actor, entrepreneur, soon to be a very big entrepreneur. Okay, I see. I
get that feeling.
I get that feeling. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere, all right? Or else Joseph Sikora is going to turn into fucking Tommy Egan. We'll be right back. Cheer.
Yeah, what up? Internets, what up? You are now locked in. You tuned in. It's going down. I'm with my brother, my homie, my family, my guy, my paisan, Premium Pete. It's going down. Don't go nowhere. Stay here. Internets, we love you. Premium Pete Show. Ghosts.
Internets, and we're back. Sitting here with my guy, Joseph Sikora. I tell you, sometimes if you think about it, that could sound Italian.
Sikora. Unless you pronounce it the Polish way, which is Sikora.
Okay. So then I'm not saying it right.
Oh my God. I mean, I like to say Sikora because it's fun to say it like that, but my dad always gives me grief. He's like, "You're American. You're born here. You're American. Stop it. Sikora." My wife always says Sikora, and she's actually legitimately Polish. So
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like a tool, but I always liked when my grandmother would say Sikora.
Yeah. Now, do you still have, like, you know, obviously, I think you're the only family that's in New York, right? Meaning, like,
Still, yeah, my brother and I lived here together for a while. My brother Alvin, who now lives in the Kingdom of
That's
Saudi
crazy.
Arabia in Riyadh.
what is he doing?
He's teaching somebody how to do his job because in Saudi Arabia, because it's a country that's economy is so far into the black, they're making so much money that you get a stipend for certain classes of people, not all people in Saudi Arabia that live in Saudi Arabia, but actual native Saudi Arabians, ethnic Saudi Arabians get a stipend to live there. And
You-
so
you-
so that there's a little bit of why do I want to work if I'm getting paid to just kind of be here and live? And they want more Saudi Arabians to do more white collar jobs. And so my brother is in PR with a company called Weber Shandwick, and he's teaching somebody kind of a Saudi Arabian how to do his job.
That's incredible. Have you been there before?
No, I don't plan on going. It's very difficult to get into Saudi Arabia.
Really?
It is. Yeah.
Where have you traveled that when you were as a young kid could have never pictured that you'll be there?
Anywhere. I mean, like just like you and I both, we had families that decided it was a good idea to drive to Florida.
It's a terrible
It's
idea.
a terrible idea.
Fucking dad.
So yeah, where have I been that I could never? Bruges in Belgium was unbelievable. I loved going to Amsterdam, which I've been to a few times.
Did you
First time-
smoke when you got
I
there?
did, and I was 21 the first time I was there, and I met my dad over there because he was there for a job. He used to work for a fiber
No,
optics
the way you said
company.
that, I thought like the first time you met him, like, oh yeah,
No, man.
I finally met my dad.
Finally met my
in
dad.
Amsterdam.
No, I'm so blessed that my parents are together and still madly in love. It's a lot to live up to.
I know, right? It's beautiful. But the reason why I asked that for is because I remember kids growing up, and even Chicago and New York. I'm sure for New York particularly, they couldn't wait to get to Amsterdam because they had this infatuation with asking a cop for a light. I remember my friends who smoked when they were young. They're like, I want to go to Amsterdam. I'm going to ask the cop for a light because you can. I think about it. Like you got a joint, and you're like, hey, you got a light.
Well,
And
it's still an illegality,
Yeah.
so it's not technically legal there. It's actually more legal in the United States than it is in Amsterdam. It's decriminalized, which doesn't mean legal.
yeah.
So it's really turned the other cheek that these coffee shops are selling it. It's not like it's legal here. Some medicinally, some recreationally, but it's legal to a point, Whereas there, it's not legal still technically, as far as I understand it. It's an illegality.
You speak about entrepreneurship, and I'm going to tell you, man, and it's not no secret, but CBD and even getting into the cannabis world has been life-changing for so many people. I put you on the phone with my guy Berner, who is a partner in Cookies, one of the biggest in the cannabis game. There's people like Al Harrington that used to play for the Knicks, Pacers, and a bunch of other people have a company called Viola, a dispensary out in California. They're all over now. People like Ben Baller is involved in the point I'm trying to make is that people are making more money now in that business than they ever made their whole life.
Yeah, I mean, my company, which is called Seven Engines, is a marijuana company out of Buchanan, Michigan. We're still in the early stages. Obviously, we're growing and distributing as we speak. but-
Literally, pun intended.
Yeah. Seven Engines.
Yeah.
Brr, get it roaring.
So they have a dispensary available.
Well, we are building the spaces right now. They're actually still looking for some. There's still shares available, but this is big money to get into, and then it's a gamble to get your money out. Now, I got into this one because these are businessmen who have had other businesses who aren't getting into it for a quick flash in the
Sure.
pan, who are putting together a very structured
Sure.
plan of getting this into full operation.
Sure. Build an empire.
Well, I don't know about that as much as, build it to be as big as something that now that people always say Midwest, but I call it the lake people, like Buffalo and Cleveland and Detroit and Chicago. And that's kind of that area that's different than the Midwest for whatever reason. It just
Sure.
is. But like to get that kind of nailed down and be huge in that arena and then have one of the huge guys buy you out for, 5 times of what you paid in or 10 times,
Sure.
please Jesus.
It's like a startup food company. It's also like a podcast company now. You look at something like Spotify bought Gimlet, who creates podcasts, stories, scripted stories, $230 million. So that tells me smaller companies could get bought for 50 or 75.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. And that's the hope as well. And I think you just have to be smart. Then you have to have the income. Power in some capacity. I'm like, I'm not big. I don't have a huge amount of vices. I don't do drugs. I don't, buy crazy expensive stuff. I don't have to do all that stuff. It's just not, I'm fine without doing that.
What are some of your vices, though?
Oh God, ice cream,
Fishing.
pizza, fishing. I love fishing.
Didn't you show me like you had a
That was Albin with that 21-pound lake trout.
Okay, yeah. There you go. Yeah,
It's huge.
yeah. So I'm still thinking of you and him when you went on that getaway. It's just with no phones. Remember?
Oh yeah. Oh, when we went to the
retreat.
Yes, in Kentucky with the Cistercian monks, silent retreat.
Bro, that had to be the most calmest you ever felt.
It was incredibly calming. However, you only have your own thoughts.
I know. Then it's actually terrible too to think like that.
Actually, can be terrifying, and a lot of people are terrified because you just have to. My dad always used to say it's about time to have a come to Jesus meeting.
Yeah,
which was always kind of a scary thing. It's just you got to really answer to nobody but yourself and Jesus. Is this the right thing to do? Am I living a good life? Am I doing the right stuff? And I think there was a lot of come to Jesus meetings that I had when I was praying 7 times a day with the
Cistercians. Out there in Kentucky?
Yeah.
It's funny, too, because I think about when when the Combat Jack Show just started, and this will make 2010 maybe, or 2009, I had a side gig my friend got me for years. I've always been on and off of working on the bread route. And it was off the books. It was great, great pay, but it was at night, and it was quiet. And you would have your stops. It was a pretty simple job,
Mm-hmm.
But it also was funny for me, and I bring this up a lot, like where it was like me and Combat would sit down with Chuck D, and then I go to the bread route, and they'd be like, "Hey, get the semolina, it's over there. What are you fucking doing?" I was like, "What? I was just with Chuck D. Shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
But they're like, they don't like, they didn't care. But the point I'm trying to make is, it was so quiet, and it was like 2 a.m. to like, I was home by, before the sun even came up. But you had nothing but to think and driving. You ain't calling nobody at that time. Everybody's mostly sleeping.
Yeah.
And all I did was think, and have time to think, and I'm glad that I was able to propel even more and more. And those times were powerful.
I also think another thing, Pete, from what you said right now, from what I heard you say too, that is important to me, is that when you have the ability, like I have the ability to surround myself with people who all know me and my accomplishments as an actor or whatever. I have the ability to surround myself exclusively with those people, and I make a conscious choice to not always be around people who are going to say yes or kiss my ass or know who I am between me or anybody else, because I think that gives you a grounded perspective. You are just like anybody else, and you have to believe in the greatness in yourself. You don't have to always have people telling you how great you are or what it is. And I think that that's an important thing for anybody getting into acting or starting to garnish some accolades. You have to get back to the truth too of you as a man or a woman.
Yeah, sure. It's powerful. You think about when you were acting, or you even, I remember you started, and people could listen all the way back to our first episodes to really find out how you grew up, but, you did McDonald's commercials in the beginning. Yeah. You did theater that your mom's brought you. Shouts to your moms, man, bringing you all the time, wasting all that gas money on your ass.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you, Mom. And you think about it now, it's a little bit different how you could get into acting. You don't always need to take the same route. They could find somebody online.
Oh yeah, you have no excuse now. Almost.
Yeah.
If this is what you want to do, there's no. You don't have to have downtime. You can just put out your YouTube show, and it's amazing how out of touch I am with uploading stuff online or putting this into a zip drive and getting this over to here to here. And I don't know my asshole from my ear hole on that stuff. So. Kids do though, younger people do, not even kids. I'm talking like an old man, but it's like, even younger people in their 20s or whatever. It's like people that are younger than me just have such a better grasp on that. And so just get out there, put out content. That's what the world wants, content. Yeah. So make content. Yeah. If that's what you want to do is be an actor, just get out there and start doing it. I don't know if I would have if I had the ability, but I think I would have if I had the accessibility to producing that content.
Sure. We brought it up before, but it's always powerful when you speak about the relationship with 50. And I always hear you talk about how...
He's super impressive. Yeah, he takes incredible risk, and it's always very calculated. He enjoys being underestimated when people underestimate him. He really does have a huge burning belief in himself, and that's why he's made it. He has just these great quotes that I know are first-time quotes. When I said, Fifth, you're always smiling. He said, I spent a lot of time frowning, Joe. And that's a great one. He just, he when I'm talking to people, I'm just like, man, Fifth, I don't want these people to have this part of this thing of my, business or what. He's like, look, if they didn't earn it, they shouldn't have it. You eat what you kill. I don't even fuck with people that eat what they kill. And I was like, yeah, not these leeches, not people that just want a piece of this. And, kind of trying to find that. I don't spend a ton of time with Fifth, but when I do, I listen. And he speaks in parables a lot of times. Like, he'll tell a story for a multiple purpose. Yeah, it's about what you're talking about, but he's telling to you for you to really listen, and there's a possibility of applying it to your life. And he's not trying to be a guru or anything like that. He's just... We're like about the same age. He's just a year older than me.
Sure.
But he's seen a lot of life and lived a lot of things that I haven't. And so I listen. I try to listen in life.
He's probably one of the funniest guys on Instagram. His captions alone are like, it's like, damn, I would say that. Like, I look at them shits and I laugh. Like, his captions, and I'm like...
He's unfiltered.
Yeah,
I think that's what people have come to expect from 50 Cent. He's unfiltered.
Yeah. Like, just captions alone, I'm like, damn, I was, like, it's just hysterical, I love the way he, like, his thoughts are like, yo, I see this guy doing this, I better get my money he owes me. Or something, he'll say some shit. It's just fucking funny, man. Mm-hmm. We think about Joseph Sikora, we think about Tommy Egan, Power, Season 6 coming up, 15 episodes. We'll see what happens with that. I'm sure there'll be a lot of fuckery that's going on. Now we also talk about what you got coming up. You have
I have a film called The Intruder that I'm in with Michael Ealy, Megan Good, and the legend Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid was ripped out of his mind.
Really? What do you mean, like,
ripped
built?
Out of his mind. Not built, but like sinewy. Like he's just one solid muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good Lord.
People always look at you on TV or their phones or their tablets.
Right. Right.
What the fuck do you watch?
I'm a bit of a nerd, and I do like Game of Thrones. I love The Tick, the Tick series. I liked Lost in Space. Was a great one. Speaking of The Sopranos, I was rewatching The Sopranos with my wife from Jersey, who never watched it because she didn't want to be reminded of Jersey. And then she started watching it, and of course she's like, I love this. I loved Nurse Jackie. Big ups to Edie Falco, who's just one of the American great actors.
You were with her recently, right?
Yeah, I saw her play.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't with her. I just saw her play.
Oh, yeah.
She was kind enough to take a picture with me afterwards.
Oh, she took a picture with a fan?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm a huge fan.
She's tremendous.
And she's gracious like that.
I mean, somebody, when you look at it, a lot of people say Carmella.
Yeah, a lot of people do say Carmella. And she's, she was Jackie for 7 years and still Carmella.
Yeah.
And I think that's just to say she doesn't not embrace that role as Carmella. She's appreciative of that role. She's just a tremendously gifted actor.
Yeah. So we have The Intruders, right?
The Intruder. The Intruder. Me, Michael Ealy, Megan Good, Dennis Quaid.
How was it working with Megan Good?
It's fantastic. She's lovely. She's a
best
lovely
eyebrows
person.
in the game.
Yeah, on fleek.
Yeah.
What? She's also a sweet, kind person. Very generous, easygoing. It was a very nice set to be around. Michael Ealy is a friend.
Yeah, sure.
He's
super talented
guy, and confident. I call him up for advice, life advice sometimes, because I think he has a very steady view of the world, and I think he balances things out really well. He's just a super even-keeled human being, and I'm grateful to call him my friend. Dennis, I don't call very much. No, he's
Quaid. Yeah.
Quaid. He was fantastic. He was fantastic to work with. I was really just so excited to have a few scenes with him, because that guy's a legend, and
of course,
and he was great to work with. Another really giving guy, and he went all in for this role. He's fantastic. It's going to be a great thriller. You should go see it. May 3rd it drops, so put that on your calendar.
In the movies?
In the movies.
Okay.
May
3rd, AMC. iPick, fucking what else? Regal. Okay?
Fandango, use your movie pass. Just get there.
Let me tell you something, okay? I fuck with iPick. I went to iPick with my daughter. They had a blanket and a fucking pillow. They have like these 2-seaters, and it's like a Ferrari leather. You know what I mean? And you sit back and you press the button and you lift up in the air and you watch it and you press another button and a waiter comes and gives you an overpriced mozzarella stick.
Oh boy!
And but it's a great experience. You know, I like it. It's actually in like Montclair, New Jersey, I think, or something.
Montclair's
like
that.
something like that. It's pretty close. They have a couple around. It's called
Take the
iPick.
Jersey Transit out there.
Yeah,
You'll be fine. Jump on a Penn Station. Go see The Intruder.
Have you gone to the movies lately?
I think I've gone out to the movies. One of the last thing I saw in the theaters was, I'm not sure, but I haven't seen Us yet, but I want to see Us.
Yeah, I
you
gotta
seen
see
it?
that too. No, I haven't seen it yet. I gotta
excited
go
to
see
see
it.
it.
You know, what's the other? Did you have Intruder? But didn't you have something else that you were working on? I think.
The Intruder Power. Oh, Jacob's Ladder was
Yes.
another one with Michael Ealy and Jesse Williams
Again,
are
with-
starring in
really?
that. Yeah. I play. I tend to be really good at playing the best friend to handsome, light-skinned black men.
Okay, listen.
If you got a thing, you stick to it.
The word is out.
You want to put me in a box? Go ahead.
Now, Jerry Ferrara, how's that working with him?
Jerry Ferrara, come on. That's one of the greatest. It's one of New York's finest, and he's back. He's back living in at least in his old borough. So
Okay.
he's
Paisan.
great, man. Jerry Ferrara is a great person. He's honestly a great, easy person to be around and be myself around. I'm grateful when I'm in his presence. Him, Shane Johnson, who plays Cooper Sax, is fantastic. He's a really great guy.
Joey Perino.
Joe Perino, forget it. Forget about it. Maron, that's the guy. That's the man right there. Joe Perino. Mike Dopit, who plays Jason, is great. Bill Sage, who played Sammy, is still a close friend. Really, just a great bunch of guys. Omar Scroggins, who plays Spanky, has become a good friend. Just really grateful. Michael Ferguson, who plays Two-Bit, is a good guy, and his role has been increasing. Much bigger role in this upcoming season, and obviously Rotimi Okanosho is fantastic in the show, and Dre has got an incredible storyline this season. So it's going to be a lot of good stuff coming out for Power. Now, I hope that Jacob's Ladder actually comes out because Will Packer, who produced it, is I don't know where they're gonna find the audience for it, but I hope they do. Hope it's Netflix, and I hope it comes out and you get to watch it.
Yeah. Well, Joseph Sikora 4.
Joseph Sikora 4, if you want to follow me. Also follow Mama Tried BK.
Yeah, Mama Tried BK. It's your new partnership, your new bar out in Brooklyn that you're a partner in. Season 6 Power, as we wind this episode down, what could people look forward to?
Things going in different ways. I was surprised with every script. A lot of it took a lot of faith, like, wow, this is happening in this way. But you got to trust. Courtney has produced an incredible show.
Are you done shooting?
No, we shoot until June.
Okay.
Maybe June 15th.
Okay. That's when June. That's around the time people used to get out of school. Remember, like June 28th, June 28th, maybe it was.
Right before my birthday, June 27th.
I remember when I was young. I remember that date. I used to throw my books in the sewer. When school ended. Until one year, I found myself in summer school, and I was like, "Fuck, I need that book back."
Jesus, and they're so expensive.
Yeah. Mom gave me a whooping on that one.
I'd say she would.
But you said season.
Go deliver the fucking bread.
Yeah. Oh my God! Season 6, God, you said a lot. You were surprised. You're still shooting. What'd you say?
I was just surprised at the direction that the show's gone in certain crossover themes. You're going to see a lot of different characters in scenes with people that they've never been in scenes with before. It's an incredibly wild ride.
Well, we look forward to it, man. First of all, like I said, it's always good to have you up here. Third time returning guest. So let me tell you something.
Three-peat.
The fourth time he comes, we're gonna
My favorite number.
We're gonna pair him with somebody.
Okay.
We're gonna pair him with somebody, whether it be a power person or whether it be a different. Who knows? We'll figure it the fuck out. But let me tell you something. Okay, it's always good to have you. I'm proud of you. It's special. Look, you're a great guy. and I'm proud to call you a friend. You know.
Yeah, it's great to have a friend like you too, and I got to say that you get yourself into part of your entrepreneurial spirit. It's the reason that I decided it's time to go out and try to.
Sure, life after power. You know.
Yeah, man. And you invested in Grillo's Pickles, which are fantastic.
Listen, there's so many things, like, you know, it's funny when we get to our age where we're at, and you think about it, and you've had a tremendous career, but there's always life after, and
we're hustlers.
Yeah. So, and you know, look, let me tell you something. You are cut from a cloth, even though you're from Chicago. And I'm not going to bother you with this deep dish pizza because it's only once in a while. Internet, let me tell you something. I make fun of Chicago. And my grandmother, 98 years old, I send him videos of my grandmother.
Yeah.
Just saying that Chicago pizza sucks. I break his balls, you know.
And look, it is a different kind of pie. And I will say this: you can't beat New York bagels.
No.
It's
the water.
Impossible. It's the water. But see, that Chicago says the same thing for the pizza, that it's the water pH in the water. That's why our crusts are so good. And I got to tell you, there's certain crusts there. And look, DeFire's, even though it's so like everybody and their mother goes there now, that crust is so friggin' delicious still.
Yeah. They got a winner there.
It's a winner. What do you think about where are you at now with in terms of tourist pies, Juliana's or Grimaldi's? Because I have to tell you,
Grimaldi's so tourist though.
Oh, I got a piece of Juliana's the other day, and it was fantastic.
Yeah,
I was like, this is really good.
I mean, it's such a tourist spot. I don't know what it is, but when things get hyped and get touristy,
yeah, forget it. I don't want to wait in that line. It's not worth it.
But we still have to go on a pizza run.
Yeah.
We're gonna go on the
DL,
the spots that like are great.
The DLSB.
Absolutely. Forget about it. Let's say it.
South Brooklyn.
Internet's my friend Joseph Sikora. Okay, when you see him in the street, if you want to call him Tommy, but say Joseph Sikora. I like you as Tommy.
That might get you a hug.
See you next episode. CHEA. Internets, if you enjoyed that episode, then hit me up. That's right. Email me at thepremiumpeteshow@gmail.com. Again, that's thepremiumpeteshow@gmail.com. If you're an advertiser, any big company, small company, startup, whatever it is, you want to advertise on the Premium Peep Show, hit me up. Email thepremiumpeteshow@gmail.com. And we'll get to working. Okay? And if you have a suggestion or you want to hear a certain guest on the show, whatever it is, okay? You know, you could at Premium Pete Show on Twitter or Instagram. Or for the last time, I'll tell you, well, I'm not going to, it's not the last time. Email me, thepremiumpeteshow@gmail.com. And let's get to working. CHEA.